Hello, third grade. This is Mrs. Nuez here to help you with today's lesson. We've been working on equivalent fractions, and today we're going to focus on equivalent fractions on a number line. So the other day I showed you this example, but we're going to start with the same example again. So if I have this number line and I break it up into 4 parts, I broke it up into quarters or 4 parts. This would be 0/4. This would be 1/4. This would be 2/4, my midpoint. That's why it's in the middle. This would be 3/4. And then I'll just make this a little longer. 4/4, which is my 1/2, would be right here at the end. Okay. So this number line is cut into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I took the same number line and cut the 4 parts in half, I will then have 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would be my 0/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Okay, so now we can see that equivalent fractions live at the same location on a number line. And we can see that right here with 1/4 and 2/8. Now, these all have relationships. They're all on the same location on this number line because they are equal to each other. So we can also prove it by doing 1/4 and multiplying the numerator and denominator by 2, and we get 2/8. We can prove this by multiplying 2/4 times 2 top and bottom, and we get 4/8, which you see here. This one, we can multiply 3/4 times 2, and we get 6/8, which you see here. And then the last one, 4/4 times 2, and we get 8/8. So the relationship is that these fractions live on the same location on this number line because they are equal to each other. These, okay? Here's another example. Another example would be if I drew a number line and then I cut it into thirds. So I'm going to cut this into thirds. This is 1/3, 2/3, okay? So here's 1/3, 2/3, and then, all the way back here would be 3/3, okay? So if I went and cut my thirds into smaller pieces like this, I would now have 6 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this would be my 1/6, my 2/6, my 3/6, my midpoint, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. So like the other example I just showed you, you can see, let me just fix this right here, that some of these fractions are equivalent to each other because they are on the same location on this number line. So you can see that with 1/3 and 2/6. You can see that with 2/3 and 4/6. And you can see that with 3/3 and 6/6. Okay, and again, you can prove it by doing the multiplication strategy. So if you do 1/3 times 2 on top and bottom, you get 2/6. If you do right here 2/3 times 2 on the top and bottom, you get 4/6, like right here. And then this one, if you do 3/3 times 2, you get 6/6. So you can see that these fractions, the relationship between these fractions is that they're equal to each other. Okay? Now, if you look at this sheet, this is what I just showed you right now. So here you have the number line that I showed you, the first one. So it was broken up into fourths first, and then it was broken up into halves, and you had 8 parts. So using this number line, we can name some equivalent fractions like we just did. So if we are looking for an equivalent fraction to 3/4, we look at this number line and we can see that 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent. So we would write 6/8 here. And we can further prove it by doing 4 times 2 and 3 times 2. Okay? Here, we want to look for a fraction that's equivalent to 4/8. So we look at our number line, we see 4/8 here, and we see that 2/4 is at the same location. So that means that 4/8 and 2/4 are equivalent. And you can multiply 4 times 2, which gives you 8, and 2 times 2, which gives you 4. Okay? Then 8/8, if I look at 8/8 or 1 whole, I can see that 4/4 is equal to 8/8 because it's also equal to 1 whole. So if I do 4 times 2, I would get 8, and 4 times 2 here gives me 8 also, okay? Or I could do 8 divided by 2, and 8 divided by 2 here. And then here, 1/4, I look at 1/4 here, and I see 2/8 is equal. So I would write 2/8 here. So just to prove it, 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 2 is 2. Okay? And then here you can see, again, the number line I just showed you. So here's my thirds, and then I break up the thirds, and I get 6 parts right here, like I just showed you. So if I want to find an equivalent fraction for 2/3, I look for 2/3 here, and I see that 4/6 is at the same location. So, and then I multiply by 2. Okay. Then 3/3, I look at 3/3 here, and I see that 6/6 is right below 3/3 because they're both equal to 1 whole. Okay. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6. And then 2/6, I look at 2/6 here, and I see that 1/3 is at the same location. So I could do 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2. And then finally, if 4/6, again, if I look at 4/6, I know that it is equal to 2/3 because I just did it right here also. Okay, and that is today's lesson.